you are a woman in business and you have a life partner who is not pulling their fair share of the second shift and the parenting, then there's every chance it would be easier for you to do this business life juggle without them. Heads up, folks, this one has the chance to get a little bit ranty because this makes my blood boil. Welcome to the Moxie Movement. I'm Sarah Greener. I'm your host. Today we're talking about the impact that our significant others, our husbands, our partners have on our ability to run a successful, sustainable business for both us and the business. This one is dear to my heart because I think this is the number one challenge that women face that men don't face when it comes to running a business. If you're a man and you are married to someone, there is every chance that they are taking care of the majority of the parenting and the majority of the house stuff. Cool. Thanks, patriarchal society. We get that that's the way it was structured in the past. The reality is now that for most of us, we're a two-income family. We both work, and therefore we should both cook, both clean, and both parent. And yet, all the statistics that I look at show us that is not the case. In fact, the chances are that you are not sharing the load evenly at home, fairly at home, until you, my friend, are earning 100% of the household income. About the time you bring in 100% of the money, then you're allowed to share the work 50-50. Now, I don't know about you, but this shit's ridiculous. This makes my blood boil. And it even more makes my blood boil when I start talking with women in business and they start saying, oh, my husband says he brings home more money. I'm like, yeah, of course he does. He brings home more money because he doesn't have to think about anything else. Imagine what you could do in your business if the only thing you had to do was show up and work. If the only thing you had to manage inside your head and in your life was just the business. Now I get it. There are still lots of moving parts in our businesses. There is team to manage, marketing, sales, accounts. The list is long just in your business. Imagine though if that was all you had to do. Imagine if you didn't then have to go home and ensure that everyone was fed and that they'd all taken their lunch boxes out of their school bags and they'd all been to their after school activities and completed the homework and that you knew where everyone had to go tomorrow. Oh yeah, and make sure they've all got clean clothes to wear, and the list goes on. Imagine if you could just do the first list. How much more brain space you would have, how much more focus and energy and decision-making powers would you have on a day-by-day basis to make your business awesome? Lots, right? And here's the paradox that comes out of this. As women, as a general rule, we get into business for the freedom and flexibility it gives us to enable us to do that juggle around life and house and children. And we get left holding all of the jobs that are required for the flexible stuff. What I mean by that, it means that likely if you're in your own business, and particularly if your husband has a normal job, you're likely to be the one picking up the sick days. You're likely to be the one picking up the extra teacher-only days. You're likely to be the one picking up school camps or extra activities that need parent support. And every time that's a down day, that's a day that you are not moving your business forward. You're not generating income in your business. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad choice because I absolutely do those things. Like if Scarlett's sick, not so much now, she's a bit older, but when she was younger, it was good to be able to take a day off because I did lots of years where I couldn't, when the poor child had to sleep in the corner of the office and be sick there. And now, once we got out of that ridiculous round of hours, I could come back to, okay, I can be at home with her when she's unwell, or Johnny can be at home with her when she's unwell, because newsflash, in our house, we share it. If you are the one that's doing all of that, then you are going to struggle to get your business to the financial place you want it to get to. And then the challenge becomes even worse if you have a partner, a husband, that turns around and says, oh, but you're not making as much money as me, therefore you should do more. Now, This is where I get really cross because it's a chicken and egg kind of problem. If you do not have the time, the focus, and the energy to work on and in your business in a focused way without being exhausted because you've worked a full-time job raising kids before you get to work and then you've got another full-time gig when you get home in the night, then of course you're not making as much money as him. You've never been given the opportunity to. You've never been given the space and time to. I call bullshit on this. Your business isn't making enough money. You have to do all that free, flexible labor because I make more money. That is bullshit. You need to figure out how it works for you in your relationship. You have these conversations at home, but I'm going to let you know that if you are the person that is doing all of the parenting or even most of the parenting, and when I say that, I don't just mean the physical load, the mental tasks, the thinking, the making sure everyone's where they need to be, the Christmas shopping, the birthdays, all of that stuff. If you do all of that and they just do what they're told, if your partner just does what they're told in terms of the parenting, and then there's the household stuff. Now there's like making sure the house runs and you're doing all of the mental load of that as well, you are going to struggle to get to where you want to be in your business because you only get limited focus time and energy every day. You only get limited decision-making points every day, and you are using most of them on the domestic labor. If you love what you do in terms of your business and you are passionate about what you do and you want to make it work, you have to have a really open, honest and curious conversation with your significant other about how we're going to do this. Because if you do not co-parent, and yes, I know that's a term that is mostly used when parents have separated and live in different houses and now actually share the parenting, but what if we did that before? What if we actually stopped and thought, how can we co-parent while we live in the same house? How can we split the effort, the energy, the thinking behind raising these epic small humans? What if we split it evenly? What if we said, here's all the things involved in raising this small human from a baby through to 18, and how are we going to make that work between the two of us? How are we going to evenly ensure that the mental load and the physical load is split evenly between us so that we both have an opportunity to go out and make the most of our businesses? Now, if you do not put time, focus, and energy into your business, it will not flourish. Number one thing that I see when I start working with women on their time is that they pick up and put down their business multiple times a day to go and take care of parenting tasks or household tasks. Now, if you had a job and you went to work, that would not happen. And because you're picking it up and putting it down, you're actually not getting a clear, focused run at your business at all. You need to sit down and have a conversation about what this looks like. For some of you, this might be, hey, I'm going to do drop off in the morning to school, but you're going to need to do pick up. And if that means maybe you need to go to work a little bit earlier, cool. But I'm going to do the parenting until the kids go to school. And then you're going to do the parenting after you pick the kids up and they are in bed. One of us does the morning, find all the things for the school activities, make sure they're going to be fed for the day, have everything they need, have their homework, have their devices, all the list of things they need to have. I'm going to do that. That's Sarah's job. And then after school, is going to be Johnny's job. He's going to make sure that Scarlett gets to swimming, that she gets picked up from swimming, that she gets fed, that she gets her homework done, she has a bath, and she gets into bed at a reasonable hour. Like, we might split the labor like that. Now, that means that we still have to work together as a team. We still have to have a conversation, but we've been really clear about who's responsible for what. I know some friends who do that and it works super well. I know other people that are like, my days are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and my husband's days are Thursday, Friday. I get to do all the kids' stuff outside of school hours Monday through Wednesday, but then I get a clear run at Thursday, Friday, which is full time for me to be in the business. And my partner does the drop-offs and the pickup. I get a great run at it. That might be a way that you could share the parenting. And then hopefully you're having the weekends off together and you're going doing fun stuff together. Or you're relaxing at home, we're getting some chores done around house. I don't mind. And then the flip side of that's the parenting side is the household side. How are we going to split that? And it's really important to me that you take the time to get a whole list of this down on paper and go, this is the task and here's the thinking that needs to go behind it. Here's the physical work and here's the mental load, because they both impact your ability to be successful in business. And again, if there is a second adult in the house and they're not doing any of this thinking and you're having to do it all for them, this is a public service announcement for them. If you are doing all of this, it would be easier for you to do it on your own because you just would have one less human to take care of. Now, there are other reasons to stay married. Obviously, there's other reasons to stay in a relationship other than like we share the load. But fundamentally, if you are not able to get at the things that light you up and you're excited about doing and building the business you're excited about because you are the free labor at home, ultimately you are going to come unstuck pretty quick, pretty soon, because no one wants to feel trapped like that. And I also want to tell you that you have a whole lot of responsibility in this too. It's not just his fault. We're not just going to point the finger at the other parent and the other adult in the home and go, it's all on them. Because I would like to bet that you have figured out that instead of asking them to do these things, it's just easier to do it yourself. I'm going to bet that you don't even ask them to pick the kids up when they're sick from school because it's just easier to do it yourself. And if that's the case, I understand. And some of the reason that this is hard and that this conversation needs to happen is on you. Here's the thing. Society has conditioned him that it's okay that someone else takes care of all his needs and he can just go to work. Society has also conditioned you that you are responsible for taking care of all his needs and he can just go to work and earn the money. And somewhere along the line, they also told us that we're super amazing at multitasking. And so we can do all of these things. Oh, and by the way, you can earn an income too. And I still want you to do all the other things. That wasn't what the feminist movement wanted. When they wanted us to be able to go to work, it was so that they could do less of the stuff at home and generate an income, not do both. And what's happened is us beautiful overachieving women have gone, oh, it's my job to do all of it. The answer is it's not. And part of the reason that it's become your job is because you have trained the other person or persons in your life that you are the one that is responsible for all of this stuff. Let me say that again. You have trained everyone in your life that this is how they should treat you. And you are going to have to reset expectations if you want to change this. If you have some big goals in your business, if you have some things you want to achieve and you want to build and you want to create, and you still want to stay in your intimate relationship and you still want to be a great mum, you absolutely need to sit down and have the conversation about what does co-parenting look like and what does two adults taking care of this home mentally and physically look like. And that might look like resetting some expectations and apologizing for your part in that. Oh, I hear you're like, what do I have to apologize for? I'm running around doing everything. Yeah, you are. But you're also not communicating super clearly that you need help. You're also not super clearly communicating how much workload's involved because they might not know. I know that's terrifying to say in the 2024 year. It is terrifying to say that they might not know, but they might not know. If they've come from a household where their mother did everything for everyone, they just don't know what's involved in running a household because they've never, ever been involved in having to do it because mum did it. And you've just stepped into those shoes. If you're raising children, make sure they know what it takes to run a household, that there is more thinking and logistics that go into it, because otherwise you're raising more adults that will have the same problems. Sit down and have that conversation and go, you know what? I am so sorry. I set the expectation that round here I was going to be responsible for most of the parenting and most of the household. I'm really sorry that I have been doing all the thinking and I have been just going ahead and doing it and not even telling you what I need help with. Because by doing that, I have loaded my own plate up with way too much, and my brain is really exhausted and really tired from all the thinking I have to do for every single human in this household and keeping the house running. And I'm also trying to make a go of my business. And in order for me to do all the things that matter to me most, I need to let you know that expectation is not the one I'm going to have going forward. The expectation needs to change. I'm sorry for my part in that, and I really want you to work with me for us to co-parent and for us to share the load. When would be a good time to have a conversation about how we can do that? And then figure out a time, make a meeting, sit down, have a look at what needs to be done. Now, in our house, we don't do all of the work. Like, we do all the thinking collectively, Johnny and Sarah, but we don't actually physically do it. But part of this journey for us was like, what are the bits that we don't want to do? We don't want to clean, we don't want to garden, what are the things that we don't want to do? We don't want to do our laundry, we don't want to supermarket shop. There's a whole list of things that we didn't want to do. We have to do the thinking around it and figure out how to do it, and then we outsource it. We either pay someone else or we use the different tools that are available to us to get that stuff done. There's nothing that says, hey husband, you're now going to have to cook and clean and laundry and iron and make dinner. That's not necessarily what this conversation is. What it is about being explicitly clear about all the moving pieces that happen in our lives and how collectively, as the two adults in the household, we are going to make this work. Now, obviously, if you're a single parent, this is a little more challenging. You're going to include your small people. And even if you are a two-parent household, I think you should include your small people. I think they should understand what it takes to make everything to come together. And when you sit down and have a conversation with them, there will be bits that they can pick up and they can do with you. And you'll be surprised how much they can do. Once they get to a certain age, they might cook dinner once a week. Depending on how many children, that might take a few days off your plate. They can definitely do dishes, do laundry, keep their rooms tidy, put rubbish out, do tasks around the house that take the physical load off. You can also take, as they get older, obviously when they're younger it's more difficult, but as they get older, you're going to be able to take off some of the organizational things around their activities and their school things and start to teach them how to manage their own experience of life. And I think that's a game changer for kids. I think you see them grow in confidence and independence as that happens. And hey mum, it's going to mean less work for you, and that's super important. If you have one of these husbands, partners that thinks that because he earns more money, that means he gets to do less around the house, you need to sit down and have this conversation. If he's telling you that when you earn as much money as him, then you'll be allowed to focus on your business, you're telling him that's the wrong way around, man. If you let me focus on my business, then I'll be able to earn more money than you. I'll be able to create a business that generates six-figure profits and six-figure salaries for our family. I cannot do that and be responsible for everything else, which is, I think they calculate it's like somewhere between 2 and 3 full-time jobs if you are the one holding all the parenting down and the household down. It is off the charts. Sit down, have this conversation, and then hold them to the work they said they would do. No more of this racing in to rescue them. No more going, it's just easy to do it myself. Your job, once you've set the expectation, is to hold them to that. Really need to start having these conversations where we have evened up the load and now we're working towards it. You're still going to fall off the wagon every now and then. I get it. And there are going to be days where I drop the ball or Johnny drops the ball and we argue about the house stuff or the parenting stuff. That's totally okay. Then your job is to reset and get moving forward again. But please, please do not go through this life trying to do it all and thinking that you're a failure because you are not getting the results you want when you've already done a full day's work before you start on your business. It is not you. It is the freaking system you're operating in. And because that system is your family unit, you have the power to change it. You can become the glorious exception. It shouldn't feel easier for you to run your life and your household and your business when your partner goes away. When Johnny goes away, I feel the extra load come on because he takes care of some of the stuff. And when I go away, he feels extra load come on because I take care of some of the stuff. If your partner's not doing their fair share, you need to have this conversation, because fundamentally it would be easier to do it without the partner if they're not doing, and let's say fair share is 50-50. I don't care how much money they're bringing in. They need to be doing half the parenting, half the household labor outside of their work hours. Because you are already holding down full-time gig running this business. Told you to get a bit ranty today. Go, have that conversation. It is so important that you have a teammate at home that is helping you co-parent and helping you do the second shift so you can be successful in your business, because I want you to be the glorious exception. Go, have that conversation. It's going to take a little bit of moxie, but you can do it. Go, have the conversation, become the glorious exception. Until next time, stay moxie.